Why is it that some companies just insist on complicating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? I'm talking to you, Sig. I'm talking to you, right here. You see that? You see that? What is that? What the heck is that? Nobody's ever actually figured that out. Have you figured it out? I've never figured it out. When it comes to zero stop, the zero stop on a rifle scope, some people just constantly complicating that peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Fortunately for us, there's a company that has graced us with a pretty simple zero stop for their Generation 2 optics, and that is SWFA, a little company down in Texas. So without much ado today at all, I'm gonna do a quick short on how to set the zero stop on the Generation 2 SWFA rifle scopes. What I've got in front of me is their 3 to 15 power with 42mm Bell or 42mm front lens variable mil version 2 scope with zero stop and multiple turret options. So we're gonna get in here, dive right in. I'm gonna show you how to set the zero stop on this thing. And I think it's an elegant and simple solution that the industry desperately needs. Now, SWFA is not the only one doing a really great zero stop that's kind of simple and easy to use, but they've definitely provided something in their Generation 2 that I think a lot of people out there could learn a lesson from. There are other great optics out there, other great companies doing zero stop, which is kind of a standard in optics these days. It's kind of a newer, I won't say it's a newer concept, but it's something being employed in more scopes more often in the industry today, and it's a really, really beneficial user tool that, you know, as a precision rifle shooter or anybody, even hunting and stuff, can really, really benefit the shooter in having a zero stop built into their rifle scope. What is a zero stop? A zero stop allows you to return to the same zero consistently and mechanically after you've had to make adjustments for longer range shots in your rifle scope without the guesswork of deciding whether or not you've come down or having to mark on your turret whether or not you've come down enough rotations to be back on your true zero after making an adjustment. Sometimes you have to like mark your scope base or whatever, your turret base or your turret body. You have to mark where your actual zero is, and that zero may shift from time to time as you try different loads or try different ammos and in different environments and stuff like that. So being able to set a stopping point within the scope mechanically to your true zero, whatever that is in any given circumstance and situation, and return to it without even having to think about it or having to measure or having to guess if you've gone too far past your zero or you're dead on your zero, is really, really beneficial for users. Let's demonstrate real quick. Right now I've got this rifle set and the zero stop is set. So say I need to make a shot at 2 or 3 mils, boom. I've dialed up, say my 2 mils, 3 mils, whatever. I've made my shot, and I've got to go back to the field condition where I need to be back to zero. So I need to get my rifle back to its set point of zero to where I'm trued in for 100 again. I'm no longer set for that adjusted distance shot. Well, typically you'd have to remember, okay, how many mils did I go up? How many mils did I go down? How many mils did I go left, right, whatever? Mils, minute of angle, whatever you use it. And sometimes you can get a little lost, especially if you're making rapid target engagements over multiple distances. You get a little lost in trying to refine your zero stop or your actual zero for your rifle. A zero stop is simply just a mechanical device built into the turret that once you've made an adjustment, you can crank back down and you will hit that stop point and you will know I'm on my zero again. Easy, you can do it in the dark. So in a nutshell, that's what a zero stop is. It allows you to mechanically return to zero, consistently the same every time. Now let's get in here on how to actually set the mechanical zero stop for this specific scope. Okay, I really appreciate what SWFA has done here with their Gen 2 scopes, and also appreciate the fact that they give you multiple turret options. So you can have thin turrets with a capped, you can put a cap over them like this, so you can have capped windage and elevation, which I painted mine, or you can go with target turrets, or you can go with just simple slim profile target turrets. So when it comes from the factory, now I already have my zero stop set. When it comes from the factory, we're going to reverse engineer this. You have one simple screw on the top to remove your turret. Very, very simple, uncomplicated. I really enjoy that. They've moved away from having multiple Allen screws around the head here, which is nice. Pop it straight off. This is your actual zero stop right here. Now I already have mine set. It's dropped down into the set position, but when you get it from the factory, it should have enough play in the zero stop to allow you to make your adjustments. So let me just reset this. Really simple Allen screws on this. This is your zero stop right here. This little bezel ring right here. And you have little tiny little Allen screws going around it in a clockwork, or around the circle. So when you get it from the factory, you will notice that your zero stop is actually floating up above the housing here. It's not hard stopped to the housing, it's floating up above. So it looks basically like this when you get it from the factory. You'll notice how this is floating up here. And what that allows you to do is when you have your turrets engaged, when you have your turrets set on here and screwed down in there, it allows you to make adjustments for your zero depending on the height of your scope, your mount and rings and all those things. So once you've gotten it's mounted up to your rifle, you have plenty of play in the actual zero stop itself, or in the turret itself, to go up and down quite a good distance to make your adjustments for your actual zero. If you notice that you don't have enough play to go down, then that means your zero stop is a little low, or they've set this just a little bit too low from the factory. So you can just undo these 3 Allen screws with the supplied Allen wrench and move this thing up a little bit to get it out of the way, basically, so you can set, or you could even remove it altogether. So if you want to do this right here, you can just remove it all together, put your turret back on, screw it down, and then adjust your zero as needed. Once you have your zero set, very simply just pull your turret back off, take your zero stop ring, loosening all your Allen screws. So I'm going to make sure these are loose. And you drop that bad boy, and there is no indexing on this, it's just a round cylinder going onto a round cylinder. You index it down to the stop, down to the actual edge of this brass housing right there. Make sure it's down snug. The one thing you do need to be sure of, and I'll try to get in here as close as I can on your zero stop here, is that there is a nub on the back side of this thing right here. There's a nub right there. And it needs to be on the left side, so the counterclockwise side of the brass nub built into this bezel ring right here. So make sure that when you reset that down, you're actually on the correct side of that, and then you twist and butt up against it and hold while screwing these Allen bolts back down, these Allen screws back down. Okay, and then line up your turret, drop it back in there to your zero, screw the top down, and you should have yourself set so you can make adjustments up as far as you need to, and then come on back down and you should be back on your zero. And let's look at this. Let's see how close we are. See, I've got lined up with zero. So let's say we made an adjustment. Full revolution there, that's 5. That's 10 mils. And let's go back down all the way to the stop. You can feel it in that brass, so the brass nub that sticks up here on the actual housing inside here is what the zero stop rests against and comes to that stop against. So if you have that little on the zero stop ring itself, if you have that on the wrong side of your nub, then you'll just be backing yourself into your zero stop and only being able to go down 1 or 2 tenths of a mil on the way down either. So it'll just kind of get stuck in this little weird position. So you have to make sure that that corresponding nub with the actual halo, your ring, your zero stop ring, is on the left side of the brass nub sticking up here, and life is good. Back to normal you go. All right, I don't actually know if there's a zero stop inside the windage, so let's look at that real quick, because I did not even look at that. So really quickly, let's look in there. Nope, no zero stop in there, but there is a nub on the housing there. See, this is the nub. There's a nub on that housing there, so you could actually put a zero stop on your windage as well, which is cool. I don't know why you would really need to, but you can. As we all know, wind is not an absolute, and it is never guaranteed whether it's going to be left or right. So can't really see the need to put a zero stop on the actual windage, but I guess you could if you needed to. All right, real quick and dirty on setting the zero stop on the SWFA 3-15 Generation 2 scopes. Hope that cleared it up for some of you. There are index marks built into the scope cap itself and how it interfaces with the erector body, so you can't really get off you know what I'm saying, like into the half, like halfway between one mark and the next, halfway between that 1/10 of a mil adjustment or whatever your MOA you're using, whatever. So they index really, really well. It's machined into these bodies and everything. So when you're putting your scope cap on, you're either on your 0 or you're not. So there's no guessing. And some of the older style turrets and stuff, there was a little bit of play in there, and you'd be kind of maybe off center of that 0 or that exact tick mark for lining up with your actual hash marks here and stuff like that. But with these new models, the new SWFA, everything seems to be crisp, clear, machined well, and lines up really well with teeth marks and stuff like that on the inside. So it's really hard to screw it up. The 0 stop is pretty simple on this. Just make sure that that little, underneath the ring, your 0 stop ring, that nub sticking up, that little wing there, the stop, as I guess you could say, is on the left side of your brass nub sticking up from the housing of the actual erector there. So make sure it's on the left side, so when you're dialing down to that 0 stop, it's stopping there, and then you can spin freely up left of that as you make upwards adjustment in your shot. All right, if you got something out of this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Y'all know how the internet works. Y'all get out there, have a good week, be blessed, and happy shooting.